what we see a lot is that, there's a lot of funding out there. There's a lot of people building networks, but once it's set up and built, that's a lot of the story. But the rest of the story is who's going to operate it 24/7, who's going to maintain it, and when disaster strikes, who's going to be there, to service the community. And that's where CallTek adds the value. We're monitoring things 24/7. We're integrating with different vendors. So we're also, like Darren, Halo Global, we're vendor agnostic. We integrate with all kinds of different technologies. And so as an example, there need to be a category 5, right? It could be, somebody crashed into something, right, Darren? And internet services go down. Same thing, medical facility, right? Because that's life and death right there on connectivity and alerts and things like that. But in a situation, let's say so switching gears to a different scenario, Darren. So we covered hurricanes. So now let's say a semi truck crashes into a pole or something, right? Knocks out, fiber connectivity to, a couple city blocks, right? Let's say in one of those city blocks, again, just kind of sticking to medical because it's life and death. In this kind of a situation, right? You have medical, and so the terrestrial will be knocked out. Potentially, people can have the option of cellular, right, or satellite, right? Yep. Yeah. And so at that point in time, we'll be able to not only detect what's going on with the physical cable plant, right, the physical infrastructure, right? But if people are going to Twitter and saying, "Hey, man, internet's down," internet's down in this area, big car crash, right? Our platform is also scanning social media threads, for information about outages, right? And so we're not only looking at, what kind of red lights come up on the cable plant, on the physical equipment, but we're also scanning social media threads, for reports coming from the people, right? And we take all of that information in, and then from there, we're able to go ahead and broadcast custom messages. So people start calling in to the support line saying, "Hey, this service area, on Main Street is affected by a car crash. We're aware of the issue, and we're working to resolve the issue. We're working to resolve the situation." And then from there, we can also provide people the option to, press pound. They'll receive an SMS message with the ticket number and maybe a hyperlink to the status of the service provider's network, right? So these are the capabilities, right? So just to recap, right? Truck crashes into some kind of a post, knocks out the terrestrial internet, and then you get a bunch of people that go on their mobile phone, right? And they start tweeting about, "Hey, the car crash, and we don't have. I'm in this building, this location. We don't have internet." We're scanning those social media threads, for outage type notifications. Once we validate it, we'll go ahead and immediately post something on the IBR for the service provider we're taking care of. And when people dial in, they'll be notified and they'll be kept up to date via SMS. Those SMS messages will contain things like service status links, ticket numbers. So the customers can just self-service themselves, click on those links to find out what's going on. So that's, again, some additional value in a different situation of what CallTek brings to the table. Darren, in a situation like that, again, terrestrial's knocked out, and on your side, on the Halo Global technology side, what kind of a gear would help to mitigate the risk of going dark in a building?
Well, sure, and I want to get to that, but I want to hit on a point that you made earlier that's very important, I think, for everyone from a community, an operator, municipality, whoever you are, is, there's a lot of funding out there in the world, and there's a lot of, great, you spend all this money, potentially millions of dollars to get an infrastructure and put something in place. Well, that's great. And what do? You expect it to operate. You expect it to do what you purchased. Well, without having the right operator and right company like a CallTek and a Halo Global that is watching that over time, because these things, the oh shit moments don't happen all the time, right? That those are once a year, once every 5 years. But when they hit, it's really bad. and you invest and you spend all that money in the infrastructure to make sure that when that does happen, that you have a solution that can keep things alive. Well, if you don't have the right operator that is maintaining that throughout, I can't, all of a sudden, all that investment's worthless because things break and don't get fixed, and then it doesn't operate like what you expected. So I think I wanted to hit on that because that's the most critical piece, I think, when you're talking about investing in infrastructure and networks on the operator side. Is it's easy to forget that, wow, there's maintenance that needs to happen continually to ensure that investment. Back to that scenario, Tony, there's a number of technologies, and it's a very crowded marketplace that's going on right now, and there's a lot of consolidation. I mean, I'm sure many of you heard of VeloCloud and VMware and Versa and all these other technologies. Well, all of them pretty much do 80% of the same thing, right? Their goal is to ensure packet handling of that tertiary route. But then you really need to get into, what type of business is it? I look at it differently than even medical, Tony. You take like work at home. People have an office space. You've got a municipality. You have government employees. You've got apartment building. They're working from home. And their jobs and their careers rely on connectivity now. So you've got to have something into those facilities as a business that ensures that those people can work. And so that's where these technologies really come into play that we'll kind of show in a little bit.